week next week in the Champions League. And this is the story of the match in numbers. Look at the shots. 17 shots for Villa, 19 for Nottingham Forest, and 12 of those shots came in the second half. So they really gave a good go of it. And it could have been a very different scoreline, but they just weren't clinical enough. But overall, Owen, how impressed were you with both of these sides tonight?
Well, I mean, Aston Villa were really good in the first half, especially. I think they were very clinical. Nottingham Forest, the reason they're in the Champions League place is because defensively. In the first half, defensively, probably because of the formation change, no Chris Wood, no Awoniyi, they didn't have a striker, so I don't think people knew their roles were as clearly defined offensively and defensively, and I think that showed in terms of the pressing for the first goal. But other than that, I think they both showed why they're two really good teams, two really good coaches, and both kind of competing for European places. Absolutely,
and Forest did have their fair few chances, didn't they? It could have been a different scoreline completely.
Well, he mentions half-time. Nuno's manager of the month, and he has his work cut out at half-time. But whatever he said to them at half-time, Jota came off the bench. They looked at different teams second half. It's amazing sometimes when you're watching football, you think, you know, it's only going to go one way. First half, Villa were all over them, 2 goals. They're actually cruising. But whatever he said to him at half-time, that's why he's a top manager. You know, he got the message across. He got the right words across. And Forest second half came out of the traps. And again, they'll think after the game now, you know, we should have got something. You know, the shots on the goal there back that up as well, the stats as well. So, be disappointed, but they're still in a brilliant position. You know, it's a great result for Villa, of course. And again, we're talking about the race for the Champions League. It's really hotting up. It's probably the biggest race we have in the title. It looks like Liverpool have gone on to win it, and of course the bottom 3's sort of taken care of. So this race for Champions League is absolutely massive now.
Which is why it was such a big win for Aston Villa today. Jota Silva did score. He got on the score sheet in the second half for Nottingham Forest. And at that point, the momentum was with Forest, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they dominated. You know, they didn't have much possession in that first half. I think in the second half, they were obviously a lot better. I thought they created a lot more. And Shay made a good point. Jota Silva came off the bench. I don't know what he ate because he was lively. You know, he scored a terrific goal, but he was really aggressive. He was pressing, more energy. And I think it could just show. I think the only disappointing thing for Nuno is the fact that they give him a 2-goal head start. You know, if they would have defended a bit better, start the game, this could have been a completely different game.
Yeah, it could have. And actually, a shout out for the substitutions as well, right? It was an inspired substitution to bring him off the bench, and he made that immediate impact.
He did, yeah. I mean, Nico Williams down the left-hand side, I think it's good play from him. Again, we look at both sides of the goal, attacking and defending. They get a wee bit lucky, seem if I'm being honest, because it goes through, I think it's Desassi's legs first on the wing, and then, of course, through Conce's legs at the end. But take nothing away from Nottingham Forest. They came out of the trap second half, and we pick up Jota in the middle. I think Anderson was a bit raging that he took the shot off him because he was about to pull the trigger. But you see here comes through Conce's leg right at the end as well, and that just deflects away from Martinez, gives them absolutely no chance. But again, a great time to score a goal, gives them all a lift and gives them some belief that, you know, they can get something from this game.
Yeah, 3 goals in his last 4 Premier League appearances, all off the bench. He knows how to make an impact. He knows how to change the game. But overall, we saw the stats. They had plenty of chances, didn't they?
Well, they had enough chances. I think Hudson-Odoi had one, Alanga had one. You know, they created more than enough, and they do. You know, they don't have much of the ball, but they're really clinical. Hudson-Odoi, how many times have we seen him come in off that left-hand side and guide it into that back post? And Elliot Anderson, what a brilliant season he's had, just misses the post there. But they had moments, they did. They really created. You just wonder if Chris Wood's playing, is this a different game? But Gibbs White, you see him sit in that little pocket there. Again, I think Martinez probably has that covered, but had more than enough in a game away from home where you think they probably should have scored more. This one is probably my favourite one. Aurelio, what a player he is, by the way.
He is.
He's a brilliant passer, but we haven't seen many of those, Shay, have we?
No.
Smashes it from distance.
I think Martinez was really worried about this. It's a phenomenal strike. You can see his reaction after seeing as well. He knows how close it was. Brilliant strike from your centre half.
And actually, his clearance off the line against Man United as well on Tuesday.
Last minute.
Unbelievable. He is a really important player for this
I think that's
side.
the next problem that Forest will have come this summer in the transfer window. Because they've done so well, there'll be lots of people looking at the likes of Marilla, Gibbs White, you know, different players. Anderson's done well, as Owen said. Will they keep holding for next season? That's the big problem.
With Nottingham Forest, obviously in the FA Cup as well, and so are Aston Villa actually, aren't they? But with Forest, how important is it that they remain focused in the Premier League? Because it's not finished, it's not done yet. There's still a number of games to go, and it's very tight in terms of those teams behind them. So they have to make sure they maintain those points.
Well, no, and they want to, you know, they want to finish the job. They put themselves in a brilliant position. I think if you look at their whole body of work over 31 games, They're a top 4 team defensively. At home, away, every category they kind of fit. The only one is possession. They're the lowest. They have the lowest possession, Seema, in the Premier League.
Unbelievable.
But they want to finish the job. They've done so well to get to this point. They don't want to give it away today. That first half they gave away. They'll want to finish the job. If they finish in the top 4, honestly, nobody in the world would have predicted that. Not even Nottingham Forest fans.
Well, look at where they finished last season, 17th, wasn't it, in the end?
Incredible turnaround.
And that was classed as success. 17th, staying in the Premier League was classed as success last season. So where they've come from now and where they've gone to, it's just, recruitment, the manager, the owner, you have to have the whole sort of mixture right. And I think they've got the blend right. And again, if they get Champions League football, I'm talking just briefly before about people selling their best players, they might be able to attract better players as well so they can build on the team, they strengthen, because as Owen will tell you, every top player wants to play in the Champions League. And
it feels as though with Nuno, all of the players that he has managed, it feels like they've all improved under him as well. He's got more of a tune out of them.
Well, I think they have a clear style. We mentioned that counter-attack. Lowest possession, they play the opposite of the way everybody plays. Loads of possession, kind of high pressing. And I think Nuno's kind of done that. He went to Tottenham and it didn't work out because I think people expected an offensive football. He doesn't play like that. He plays on the counter-attack. And I think with Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs-White and Chris Wood and Lang, he's got the perfect players for that. So they'll probably want to recruit for that as well. But again, a lot of players, when you have success, they want more of the ball. Not many players want to have 39% possession. I think this season it works. But I bet next season they'll be saying, boss, can we play a bit more? Can we be a bit more open? But I think the reason they're in the top 4 is defensively they're good and they hit teams on the counter. And
I think the same can be said for Unai Emery and what he's done with Aston Villa, because he's actually bringing the best out of all the players that we're seeing, and they're just going from strength to strength. And it doesn't matter who he plays, as we saw the 8 changes today, but they still had so much impact on the pitch. Yeah,
that surprised me before the game. 8 changes was a risk. There's no doubt when you make that many changes, this team is not really sort of blended or played together very often. And it's such a big game because you're trying to catch the likes of Nottingham Forest. You are sort of going to battle on all fronts. He wants to get back in the Champions League. He's got a quarter-final in the Champions League coming up midweek. There's so many things he has to balance. And again, you imagine the mood in the camp now in the changing room. They're sitting in the changing room, that's brilliant, buzzing, bring on PSG, So there was a risk, and you've got to give credit to the manager. He took that risk, and it's paid off.
Well, it's a great position to be in, isn't it? To know that you've got PSG next week, one of the best teams in the world who are just on fire. But you've also just beaten Nottingham Forest, so you can kind of park that for a moment. But they also have to make sure that they continue their form in the Premier League, because the only way of getting into the Champions League for them it'd either be winning the Champions League or via the Premier League. Yeah, and they put themselves in a good position after a tricky little spell in the Premier League. But I think because they've done so well in the Champions League, I think obviously, we saw with Newcastle before, when you get into the Champions League, you need a squad. And I think Newcastle really kind of struggle with managing that load, which is normal. I think teams do that. Aston Villa have done a brilliant job of kind of doing well in Europe, managing that, and then still continue on doing well in the Premier League. So, as a player, to play today and win, and knowing you got PSG in Paris on Wednesday, it's the best feeling. You've got to kind of bottle it up and enjoy it, right? The top players play Saturday, Wednesday. Sunday, Saturday, Tuesday. Because when you're playing Tuesday, Wednesday, that's Champions League, where everybody else in the world is watching you play. So I think if you're a Villa player playing against PSG, who are probably knocking Liverpool out, they're the best team left in the competition. So it's a huge chance to go and show everybody what you're made about. So huge game on Wednesday. They're going to have to play on the counter like Forest did today, but I wouldn't put it past them. I think they got almost the perfect players to hurt PSG on the counter. And I bet every single player that started tonight and everyone that came on as well, they'll want to be in that starting lineup against PSG, won't they? No doubt. It's quarter-final in Champions League. It's a huge game. I think every player, we said about the 8 starts tonight, or the 8 changes, every single one of them want to play in Wednesday night. And the lads who sit on the bench thought they should have started today will want to play. So it's a problem for the manager, but it's a great problem to have. It is. And you know what? That's the perfect way to tee up this interview now, because I'm delighted that Morgan Rogers joins us live from the ground. Morgan, congratulations. What a win it was tonight. Shay was actually just saying in the studio, the dressing room must be buzzing. How was it in there after the match? It was quite loud, quite exuberant. It was a nice moment, especially the way the second half went. It was a real grind, a real struggle. They came onto the game really well in the second half, and we had to dig deep and fight and defend. And to hear that final whistle and to get the win's massive. We knew going into the game we needed to win to get to where we want to get to in our objectives. And
against a good team that are playing really well, and yeah, we knew we had to be really good and really on it today, and I thought we were in a large part of the game, so really happy.
Hi Morgan, it's Owen Hargreaves. First of all, I just want to say congratulations on the season that you're having. I think from the journey that you've been on as a young player to watch you play now is quite remarkable, really, how easy you're making all these steps. Look, obviously playing for England, now you got PSG on Wednesday. Are you ready to make some noise and surprise a few people?
Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, of course, we're in there for a reason. We've got to the quarter-final for the way we've played and how we've been in the competition, and we're going to go there and try and win. Of course we are. We obviously understand that we're against a colossal side in PSG, and we know it's going to be difficult. We know we're going to have to suffer in the game. They've got world-class players all around the team, but at the same time, we're here. We're there to win the tie at the end of the day, and we're going to go out. It's just a game of football, and yeah, we'll set up a game plan and see where it takes us, really. But we're really excited. We're really looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll be ready.
I was just going to ask you, Morgan, about your step up again, going back to your time in Middlesbrough, and you've jumped into the Premier League as if you've played your whole career in the Premier League. Are you even surprised yourself how easy you make this Premier League look?
I wouldn't say it's easy, but I'm definitely enjoying it. Yeah, it's difficult, but I back myself that when I do take the step up, that I'm ready and I've got the capability to adapt quick, and I'm lucky that I've been able to. But I've also come into a great dressing room with a lot of experienced players, a lot of settled players, a great manager that all try and push me and help me at the same time, and I think that's massive for any young player trying to make the step up and trying to make a name for themselves, to have people like that behind you that can support you and help you and guide you, and that's what they've done, and it's been really easy for me to go and play my game and be me.
Well, today, Morgan, you were so effective as you always are, and you scored the opening goal. Can you talk us through it?
Yeah, I saw the defender was kind of looking down, and I just made the run in behind, and obviously when Yuri gets on the ball, you just run because he's got that quality to pick you out, and I was just making sure I got my first touch right to allow myself to get the opportunity, and then it's just about hitting the target and see what happens, and happily it went in.
Sorry, Morgan, I'm just going to say, when you get your first touch is a disgrace there, to be honest. It's just a phenomenal... Honestly, it's a phenomenal first touch, and it makes the chance look easy in the end. But if that touch is not bang on, then you're in trouble. What a first touch.
Yeah, I don't know where I got the confidence from, to be honest, to be trying that. I probably should have been a bit safer, but happily went into my stride and I was able to finish it, so yeah.
I think collectively everyone was like,
wow.
What a touch,
wow.
right, Owen? Amazing.
But I think, again, it's, like, obviously Morgan's a super talented player, but you need confidence, I think, as a player, and I think Unai and obviously Morgan's playing with a lot of confidence. It's nice to see players smile and enjoy it. They've got so many great players, and they all look like they're kind of enjoying it. They're such a good team to watch, Aston Villa, and obviously Morgan's kind of the highlight at the moment. So keep going, Morgan. Good luck on Wednesday. We hope you absolutely smash it.
Yeah, best of luck, Morgan.
Thank
what
you.
happens between now and Wednesday then? Is it back on the training pitch, or do you get to have a little bit of rest?
A lot of rest, a lot of sleep, and then preparing for the game, and then just being ready for Wednesday when the whistle goes, that we're all ready as a team and as a squad to go and challenge the battle and see what happens.
We look forward to watching you, and best of luck. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Yes, good luck.
Oh, brilliant.
Must take enormous pride with the way your team fought right until the end.
Yes, the fight was there. I think the second half we really took control of the game. We created a lot of situations. Probably one of the matches that we create the most chances. But yes, I think we reacted well for the second half.
How frustrating that, having created those chances, all too often the shooting was awry.
Yeah, it was not there. It was not there. Like the final pass, the finishing. We will come. Did
you pay the price today for an indifferent start, to be 2 behind after 15 minutes? It is most unlike Nottingham Forest to concede sloppy goals.
Yeah, we started very bad the game. We didn't have control. We allowed Villa to break us, and they had the chances, they had the goals. Not good, not disappointed, not only by the chances that we didn't achieve to score, but also the way we concede.
Was part of the reason for that the change in shape that had to happen today with the absence of Ola Aina?
Yeah, we had some absences. It's all about to try and find solutions to balance and still able to perform.
Coaches always tell the likes of me that you learn a lot about your team, probably more about your team when they lose. What lessons do you expect your team to have learned from today to take into the last 7 games of this season?
We know each other very well. We know each other very well, and the way we are doing things, it's clear that we always start really well. So big lesson: we cannot start as bad as we start today.
Yeah, interesting point that he made that twice actually, that they started not so great. Is it down to the shape, do you think? Do you think that's where it all went wrong from?
Possibly, but they had to. You know, you mentioned their O-line didn't play. They didn't have the two strikers that didn't play, so they had to try and find something else. But again, you cannot start well, but you can't afford to concede. They conceded 2 really sloppy goals, and I think that's probably the thing that disappoints them, because the reason they're in a Champions League place is because they've been so good defensively. I mean, the first goal is ridiculous. I mean, he's looking at his shoe or his shin guard. Even Morgan Rogers said there, he saw him looking down and he just running behind him.
Advantage, yeah.
So that's not things we've seen from this Nottingham Forest team. Second half, they tidied it up, but they give themselves too big of a margin.
OK, well, we've heard Nuno's thoughts. Let's hear Unai Emery's thoughts.
Unai, that was, would you be fair to say that was a big win for Aston Villa tonight?
Yes, big win.
Can you talk us through the game then, the start that you had, the electric start in the opening 15 minutes?
Yes, we started dominating. They were more or less playing tactically medium block, low block, and we started dominating because they were not being pressing high, not getting out of duels. And we were having a lot of situation to progress with passes, with combination, and we were creating chances and we scored goals. The first half, more or less, was only 2 transitions we conceded, and they had as well some chances. The second half, I am not happy, because the second half, they were changing their tactical idea. The second half, taking more duels aggressively, pressing higher, and we were not dominating this situation like I think we have to. But even like that, we had another 3 chances to score, 3 or 4, but we conceded more than normal as well to get our box. They scored 1 goal, and we managed more or less after their goal, creating as well some chances, but we were always in risk to draw the match. But of course, this victory is very important. I am very, very happy with the victory.
And he would be, because it's now 7 wins in a row in all competitions for Aston Villa. They are in a really good place, aren't they?
They're in a very good place. You can't tell probably from that interview. No, because he makes demands off his players every single day, and rightly says second half not good enough. He's not happy with the second half performance, individually, collectively. And it's probably a good time for a manager to come out and sort of moan about stuff when you won the game, because the players will still be happy that they've won the game. But again, the players will know maybe second half their standards did drop. And Nuno Emery's saying we might have got lucky second half to get the victory. But again, at the end of the interview, he's happy because 3 points on the board, and they're really in the race for the Champions League.
Yeah, they really are, aren't they? And they know, well, you can see from the league table just how significant these 3 points were today. Yeah,
and the reason is because of him, and obviously Wednesday's massive. You know, with his experience winning trophies in Europe, it's going to be big. They're going to need him towards the end. Let's hope he's a bit happier than he was in that interview, and they play a bit better. But the job that he's done there in 2 years is truly remarkable.
It is, and these are the moments that as footballers they have to look forward to. PSG on Wednesday, incredible.
A huge game, bring it on. There'll be huge excitement in the changing room, so looking forward to Wednesday.
Yeah.